I'm Paul Gatling with the Northwest Arkansas Business Journal. Coming up in a few days in Bentonville, an important event that organizers hope turns more eyes towards increasing trade opportunities between the U.S. and the countries of Africa. The Trade with Africa Business Summit is scheduled May the 10th and the 11th, and joining me today for a preview is Nazeri. She is the CEO of Bentonville startup Nazeri, and she is the convener of the two-day summit at the 4 Points by Sheraton in Bentonville. Toyin, it's great to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now before we get to details on the summit, give us some background on you, your company Nazeri, and how long this has been an interest of yours in this economic development opportunity between America and Africa.
Yes, thank you again. So basically, I've been in corporate America, just doing the real work.
That means Walmart in Northwest
Arkansas.
Yes.
And then before Walmart, Whirlpool Corporation. I worked with Whirlpool for almost 7 years, and I built a career in technology. But really, how do you use technology to run your business most efficiently? And while I was at Walmart, I helped with the technology strategy, merchandising, and global sourcing. 3 years ago, I went back to Nigeria, where I'm originally from. My dad had passed, so that was a personal experience, and I basically made a commitment to see what I could do as an individual to close the gap when it comes to economic opportunity. So the last 3 years I've been doing a lot of research, and I found out that there are more opportunities in trade than foreign aid. Just on Monday, President Trump did, for example, share that the United States offer $1 billion in foreign aid to Nigeria, which is the largest economy on the continent. But the continent is asking for trade opportunities, and you know, Northwest Arkansas knows everything about trade.
So we need to be ready for those.
Absolutely, absolutely. President Trump also did say on Monday that United States businesses want to engage more and invest more in Africa.
All right, so let's get into the summit then. Give us an overview. You know, 2 days at the 4 Points by Sheraton. I know you've worked for months organizing this, bringing these leaders together, setting the schedule. What is the goal? What are the actionable steps you want to come out of this event to make this something that really pushes your agenda forward?
Yes. First thing we did was to identify the stakeholders, who needs to be in the room and who's going to be in the room. We have business leaders on the African continent, business leaders in the US, and then the political leaders on both sides. We're bringing those 4 stakeholders into the room because they all have a role to play. For example, on the US side, the business community need to realize that there are business leaders on the African continent that want to partner and build relationships, right? But today they do not know who to reach out to and who to connect with. And then for the policy leaders, we're saying help remove barriers to trade. What are those existing barriers and how do we move forward? What we're also featuring with our speakers, we have 40 speakers lined up, is what are the success stories? Because for people that want to engage, they don't know where they can plug in. What are those opportunities? What does it look like? What does success look like? So we have speakers like Westrock Coffee and the former CEO of Alltel. He is the largest single private investor in Rwanda. And the impact that is made in Rwanda as a country is increasing their GDP by 1%. So we also want to tell that story of economic growth, not just on the continent of Africa, but also in the US as well, and creating jobs for both regions.
Right. What would you say would be the big value of this event? I think you're expecting about 150 people. You've got lectures, you've got panel discussions, 40 speakers. Donnie Smith, former CEO of Tyson Foods. You mentioned Scott Ford. What is the value to them, and what are they trying to share to others who are convening for this event that's the big value of this summit?
Yes, the first thing is when you go on the street and you say Africa, most people today would say war, famine, disease. So the scale is tilted towards that angle, and investors, in their mind, they don't think of Africa as a destination for commercial opportunities. So if this event can really highlight that Africa is open for business, and there are commercial opportunities, mutually beneficial commercial opportunities, that would be a big, big win. The second thing is also telling people what they can do. So events like this happen in Washington, D.C., but it leans more on policy making, more strategic, conversational. But in this business community, we're actually showing real businesses that are investing, and they will be able to walk us through what they did to achieve success.
Right. Let's talk about some of the headlines that we've seen. We've all seen, the tariffs, the trade wars, the renegotiation with NAFTA, all of those things. Where does that play into advancing these trade opportunities and potential trade opportunities with Africa? Where does Africa fit into that picture with all of these other, call them negative headlines in other areas?
Right. So when it comes to population, various parts of the world are shrinking in population, but Africa is one of those places that is growing. By 2050, the population would have doubled. Currently, it's 1,000,000,001 people. By 2050, it's going to be 2.2 billion. So it's a fast growth when it comes to population. Also, from an economic standpoint, at least 3 in the 10 fastest growing economy in the world sits on the African continent. The African continent has 54 countries, which is a quarter of the number of countries in the world. So the growth potential of Africa is huge. So 20 years ago, China was on our radar, right? But today, everybody's in China. Africa is positioned to be that next growth region. And for American investors, American manufacturers, that the next laptop buyer, credit, all of the things that America has solved for, the next region that is going to absorb and buy those items, it's really, there are a lot of consumers in Africa that they can plug in and partner with.
Where can we drill down to, where is there an opportunity for Arkansas businesses or Arkansas companies? Any specifics, any for them that they can really glean from this
Absolutely.
summit?
We've designed the summit conversation around Arkansas agriculture.
Right.
That's huge. So China is investing heavily in Africa, but I can assure you they're not investing in agriculture. So the state of our Arkansas, it's a perfect fit. And that's one of the areas Donna Smith is going to talk about, sustainable agriculture, what it's doing on the continent when it comes to poultry business and all of that. There's also the retail logistics supply chain piece. So Africa is trying to solve for moving products from farm to shelf. And we know how to do that.
We know how to do that.
We know how to do that. So packaging, all of the things, all of those things, those are things now that we're solving for in Africa.
Right. You mentioned Nigerian President Buhari visited the White House a few days ago. What's your take on that? I'm sure, they talked about a lot of things, talked about trade opportunities. What was your take on that?
So,
anything new or anything to get excited about?
I'm excited because it validated that what we were working on was very, very important. So one of the things he talked about was non-oil export. So Nigeria, before the oil crash, was the 5th supplier of oil to the United States. Just like, Middle East, right? People didn't realize Nigeria was big on oil, but during the oil crisis, they lost $30 billion annual revenue, right? So the government came to its knees pretty much. But now they have a new strategy. They want to expand non-oil exports. And the person that President Buhari appointed to lead our mandate is going to be here next week. He's actually one of the speakers we had identified. Okay. So he's an appointee of President Buhari to lead non-oil exports beyond and push that out to the global market. And he actually called yesterday right after the president gave his speech, and it was like, Tori, what about, let's nail this thing that I'm flying in next week. Right. So he has a mandate to let the world know what the region wants to offer on a global market. Right. So that was like, wow, we were already on it.
Right. This has been a welcoming region. Bentonville been welcoming. I know you've been preparing this for months. Has this been
It's been amazing. The World Trade Center have been a great support. I was just there yesterday. We walked through the entire agenda just to make sure we're all on the same page. That's a great resource tool for anybody looking to understand Africa. They have an Africa desk. Denise Thomas is the key person there. So she has a lot of contacts as well that we've also leveraged to put this together.
Right. Well, Torian, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Best of luck on this event in Bentonville. I know you've worked hard on it and you've gotten a great feedback, so I'm sure it's going to be a success.
Yes, thank you so much. And we thank our sponsors as well. Walmart is a sponsor, Tyson Foods as well, and we welcome other brands that want to be a part of this. All right. It's fantastic.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And a quick note, if you would like to learn more about the Trade with Africa Summit, we have a story in the current issue of the Business Journal. You can find that online at our website at NWABusinessjournal.com. I'm Paul Gatling. Thanks very much for watching.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.